Alright, so basically, future Mario, don't keep your batteries in your kitchen cabinet. Yeah, so welcome to I do not know episode of season 3 of the Decompression Chamber. It's good to have you. I'm your host Mario, and to be perfectly candid, I filmed one of these like a couple of days ago, but cut to a clip. Sometimes I think that the flickering light is nice. Like I've got a candle here, cinnamon. No, not cinnamon, gingerbread. Yeah, I felt like I dug in a little bit too much. It was a day where I was going through a lot of anxiety. Cut to a clip. And if I'm just to dig into the experience of today, today has been overwrought with an overwhelming and extraordinarily intense sense of anxiety. You know, I felt it since the moment I woke up. Um, I felt it while I was having one of two cold showers that I've had today. I felt it while I was in my place of study, one of the places I most enjoy being. I'm working on a music video, an edit for a music video that I really enjoyed shooting. I felt it when I was at the gym, despite the fact that I was having a really good workout and feeling really fun. I felt it in my very nice, cozy home, cleaning and making dinner and relaxing in my room. I felt it all throughout. It was present and constant, and it still exists a little bit now. But that's not the only thing that's been going on. I've had some moments of, I'd say, triumph. In those activities that I described, I've had some moments of disappointment or frustration. I've had some moments of, elation. I've had some moments of, I'd say, anguish. And all of these moments, they feel like exacerbated or intensified by this feeling of anxiety that I've had today. And yeah, safe to say that I got into some stuff and uncovered some stuff that, while it was helpful for me personally, I didn't feel like comfortable sharing that with an audience. I wonder how much I'm going to reveal in this edit, because I do want to share a little bit. The thing is that despite the fact that it was overall a very difficult day that I recorded the video on, and part of me, the reason for me filming that video was because I'd had a very difficult day. Despite that, it still had quite a positive tone. And one of the things that I write on almost every gratitude list of every day that I write it is, every day is an opportunity to rebuild, regrow, and renew. Every day is an opportunity to make things different. And I've been saying this recently to my friends, and I do fundamentally believe it. If I believe I can bounce back, I bounce back. That's the way it happens. And what I said in that video was true. If I believe I'm going to bounce back, I do bounce back. That's the way it's been for a while now. And to a certain extent, I'm proud of myself for that, because I haven't always felt that way. Yeah, there's been a lot of times in my life where I guess I've accepted defeat a little bit too easily. I've kind of succumbed to the idea that winning isn't for me, or that I don't deserve the victory, or thoughts kind of like that. And I guess in some ways I just, yeah, maybe I don't have that burning desire to not lose at times. I'm not sure if this is related at all, but I noticed when I was with my family that out of my three brothers, I'm the least competitive. If it's some sort of game and I lose, I'm just like, oh, whatever. But if either of my brothers lose, they want to play again. They want to play again so that they can win. And that's not a criticism. I think that it's an extremely helpful and important part of who they are, and I think that leads them to a lot of success. But I guess I am observing that I'm not quite the same, and that makes me think of something that I've always wished I could talk about on this show. And I guess sometimes I have stuff that I want to talk about, but I don't really have the presence of mind to bring up. And this is something that I believe was invented by my Uncle Mervyn, but we as three brothers, sometimes there's games that's just kind of appropriate for two to play. If you're playing football, one of you's in goal and one of you's kicking the ball, kind of thing. Not that you can't play that with three people, but like, say you're doing a penalty shootout or something. And I remember one time we were doing a penalty shootout in the garden of our old house on St. Leonard's Road, and and I can't remember. It must have been my dad. He said to one of us. I remember it being me, but it could have been any of us. He said, "All right, Mario, now it's your turn. You get to be the enjoyer." And I'd be like, "What's that?" And he's just like, "Oh, you don't participate, but you do enjoy the game, you know." And and I guess to a certain extent, that's something that I've wanted to carry forward in life. You know, the idea of being the enjoyer, regardless of the outcome, regardless of what's going on. If you're enjoying yourself and having fun, then at least you're doing something right. Oh, I didn't even open it with an opening quote. That's kind of ridiculous. All right, so our opening quote today is going to be from the previous episode that I was going to record, and the quote goes something like this. It goes, "There are decades when nothing happens, and there are weeks when decades happen." Roll the 7 minutes in intro. The meat and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at a turn of your words. One of the meat and my steamer is broke. Fuck the oblique turn peak of the soul. Yeah, I guess time flies when you're having fun talking about life. But yeah, so back to the enjoyer story. That's just something I've wanted to carry forward in life. Not being overly focused on outcomes and just enjoying the process. I said that to my friend Jamal from Bristol, and I said I'm done with outcomes, and it is a little bit facetious because there's outcomes to everything, you can't avoid them, but I just said I'm done with outcomes, it's about the process. And that applies to my artistic life as a filmmaker. I guess I'm just trying to apply that to my life as a person, you know. There's that thing of the arrival fallacy, when I get to Friday I'm chilling, or you know, when I get to this much weight at the gym, or when I get to this achievement on a game, or once I've done this thing, then I'm good, then I'm happy. That it's an illusion, it's a fallacy, it's not really real. And so I guess I'm trying to avoid that as best I can. Yeah, still recording. Oh, well, the fact that says 4 minutes. Oh, that's probably why I didn't do why it says 7 minutes on my recording screen, is that I had that time that I went to look for batteries for this whole thing. In any case, I've digressed in many different ways, but yeah, the enjoyer, that's just something that I recall very fondly. But yeah, I guess looping back to the original point was that I bounced back. You know, Monday was a day of extraordinary, unpleasant, and unexpected anxiety. It kind of linked over the weekend as well, but I'm back. I woke up Tuesday just with this feeling in my stomach, but it was a positive feeling. It was just like, I'm back, you know. And I'm not the kind of person that can hide this stuff. You can kind of read it on me, and people know if I'm not doing well before I tell them, you know. And if they see me on a regular basis, and people know if I'm doing well just from telling me. Like when I had bounced back, I was in the edit suite editing a music video that I shot for my friend Bristol Jam. Shout out, by the way. Lots of love, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this weekend. But yes, what was my point? Yeah, so I was in the edit suite with my boy Harvey, whom also I love dearly and is a great collaborator. Yeah, I was sat in there and I was like, yeah, I just feel like I bounced back today. I just feel completely better. And he was like, yeah, I knew the second I saw you this morning. And that's not just because he knows me, but I think it's the kind of person I am. You know, I'm quite expressive with that stuff. Damn, I don't know why I'm so paranoid about my recorder crapping out. It's got new batteries. The battery thing says full. But yeah, in any case, I've had a hot streak of a couple of days, just feeling like I'm doing real well. You know, I've used this analogy before that I often feel like in the if you're translating life, I feel like a waiter, and I've got to carry drinks to a table of 10, but my tray only holds 6 drinks. You know, and so I'm always cramming more drinks on than I feel like I can really carry, and some are falling off. And I don't know whether to keep walking with the ones I have or to just try and pick up and cram them, you know. And at the end of the day, when one falls off, it's like the football analogy I've used before. You just have to pick up the ball out of the net and keep going, and you just have to pick up the drink and try and cram it back on the tray. But yeah, I don't really have all the drinks on the table right now, but I'm enjoying the walk. I'm enjoying the walk. I think I found this sense of peace within a lot of the chaos and uncertainty that is difficult to describe and difficult to place. And sometimes that I just need to be grateful, because I know that peace is fleeting. I know that I don't always feel this way. But I do feel this way a decent amount of the time. I watched Wall-E today, and that was it was a weird experience because in some ways it felt very difficult to watch because it made me think about a lot of real life problems and issues, and but then in another way it touched me deeply, it affected me emotionally, and that's what I want a film to do. So clearly it was a worthwhile and positive experience. And I do genuinely feel like Pixar films have been a huge formative kind of thing for me growing up. My favourite film always as a kid was Incredibles, and my mum also loves it, and we'd watch it a lot. I even dressed up as a Frozen. My grandma made a Frozen outfit for me when I was a kid. Frozen just remains one of the coolest characters of all time in any film ever. I just felt the need to say that. But yeah, and like, I always have felt like Pixar just belongs in a different category of animated films, and you can argue that with Studio Ghibli as well, but I guess for me, because I watched Pixar growing up, that's the one that I'm more nostalgic for, But yeah, so that's something I've had going on. I've been maintaining good physical exercise, which is kind of nice. I feel like that's one of the things overall that I've done best this academic year. And I've been trying to take on my health as a whole. This is something that when I get to the start of the year, I try and kind of adjust my philosophy, adjust my approach to life, and that's one of the things I think about is that your physical health and your mental health, you might consider your spiritual health, you might consider kind of different aspects of those things. They aren't individual. They all contribute to one experience. They all contribute to one big thing, So if I'm eating right and exercising right, but I'm not sleeping right, that's going to be a major player. Or if I'm doing those things, but I'm not taking enough time to, consider my emotional well-being and think about how I'm feeling about stuff, all of these things come into effect. It's a big part, and so I've been trying to address it as a whole. And just like this this analogy of carrying drinks to a table that I use, sometimes one drink falls over and it's more like a jug, and it kind of knocks everything else over, and it just feels like, all right, well, what do I do now? Everything, not only has every drink fallen off the tray, but all of the drink has spilled from the drink. So now I just feel like I have to go back to square one, like I have to start again. And oftentimes in those times, it's the support and the love from the people around me that really keeps me afloat. It really lifts me, and it's part of the reason why I try to be an uplifting person in my life. It's one of the, I do struggle with self-image. I struggle with the way I see myself. But one of the things I know about myself, and one of the things I try to do, is to be an uplifting person. And I think the reason why is because I've been uplifted many times by those around me. I've been uplifted, and if I'm ever feel like I'm in a hole, it never feels like I've just climbed out myself. There's always an outstretched hand, and even if I have to do some of the pulling, even if I have to climb out, there's always somebody offering their hand, or many people offering their hand in a chain to help me out of that hole. And that's another thing I'm constantly grateful for. Always. It's never none. It's sometimes it's less when I lack perspective. Sometimes it's more when I am able to think about it more. But I'm always grateful, And I might have said it on these videos before. I write a list every day that I can remember to 10 things that I'm grateful for, big or small. And the likelihood is that if you're watching this video, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for a lot of things. And yeah, I guess that's the state of being for me. There's a lot of stuff upcoming for me that's very uncertain, that's difficult for me to picture, difficult for me to conceptualize, but I just take it on as it comes because that's just the way I have to deal with it. Actually, this was something I wanted to talk about. I have this Google document that I've opened today for the first time in months, and it's called The Tangled Web. And the tangled web is a way that I describe how I feel my negative emotions. It never feels like one at a time. In fact, I might actually pull up an excerpt, and this is a little bit unprecedented in my day. I never would interrupt a broadcast, a video, and I'm definitely not going to cut this out because apart from showing more important information like I did previously, pardon me, I don't really believe in cutting through this thing. Alright. I wish I could Command F on this iPad. All right. This is an excerpt from The Tangled Web. It goes, "The recurring problems in my life resemble a spider's web, one that's vast, with many links and no discernible centre. It feels like all of them are linked, and I don't really know which one of them was the first to be spun." Yeah. Yeah, so that's the way I feel about my negative emotion. It's never one at a time. It's never kind of solitary and single on one thing. It's oftentimes a tangled web, and at times I do get stuck. And so the tangled web is where I go. That document is where I go when I feel that way. I just write about it, and I haven't written that way in a significant amount of time. And I guess it's kind of poignant that I didn't write it at a time. Today I didn't write it because of being in the tangled web. At least not today. You know, I may have felt that way very recently, but I guess it's telling to me that now I'm doing it from a more positive state of mind. But yeah, it was really interesting because I was reading the Tangled Web excerpt that I wrote when I was sometime in March, when I was going through a quite difficult time. You know, I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, issues with low self-esteem, and it was really interesting the way I kind of felt about my life and the way I saw myself. I wrote about it so candidly, and reading it back, it felt like a time capsule to a different version of me, to a different me, really. And it was really interesting, really enlightening, and it feels so gratifying because I do feel like I've made a lot of personal progress with my approach to life, with how I see myself and my self-esteem, and how I feel about the world. And a lot of the important things have stayed important, but I think my perspective has genuinely made a massive shift. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and I get into it in the stuff that I've written recently. But, you know, I think one of the things that I'm glad for is that I do make a consistent effort to better myself and better my life. At times it doesn't feel like I'm making much progress day by day, much like physical health, or much like, you know, a long-term artistic project. I am the project for myself, you know what I mean? Like, I'm one of my daily affirmations there, it says I'm a work in progress. It's all one step at a time, and sometimes it doesn't feel like that step has made much of a difference. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're moving much at all, and then you do something like I did today and look back over 6 months and you realize that you're not just in a different country, you're in a different time zone, you know, you're in a different reality. That's how it feels, and I mean that in a good way. I'm glad for where I am. I really am. You know, that's one of the things I wrote, is that I'm constantly trying to better my life. I'm trying to better myself, and it's difficult. Sometimes I have a moment, or I experience something that feels like I've taken 3 big steps back, you know, or sometimes I feel like I've lost the path completely. And surely enough, you just got to focus on taking that next step. That's what I tell myself. It's not about making the 20,000 kilometer journey. It's not about that, because the journey just happens. You just got to focus on the next step. And so that's why I said before, that's how I'm addressing things, because I don't want to let myself get too carried away. It's easy for me to get lost in the minutiae of different problems or possible outcomes or different lifetimes and parallel kind of paths, but in reality, whatever will happen will be what is going to happen. You know, some people call it fate, some people call it destiny, some people put it under some religious kind of doctrine. For me, it's just, I guess, it just is. Yeah, maybe I should give it my own special name. But that's the way I see it for now. And again, I'm trying to stay grateful. I'm trying to kind of appreciate the time I have, because it always feels like it's slipping away, doesn't it? It always feels like it's eluding us, and that's another reason for why I take stuff one day at a time, because I want to appreciate every single one that I've got. You know, one of the things I write on these gratitude lists is that every day is an opportunity to rebuild, renew, and grow, and every day itself is a gift, and you won't get it back. Lord knows I'm not getting this one back, and so I'm just glad that it happened. I really felt like I had more to say. I felt like I had more anecdotes, but I talked about the Tangled Web thing, and that was kind of like majorly the thing. Oh, okay, this does link to something I was going to talk about. I was kind of discussing with Bristol Jam the kind of implications of of how you see yourself over time, you know. And part of the thing of this living day by day is that one of the, day by day is actually kind of, it plays a lot into the way I experience stuff, because each singular day I try and see it as like, this is a different version of me. It might be incrementally different. The Mario of the 29th of November 2022 might be incrementally different to Mario of the 30th of November 2022, or even as of 14 minutes ago, the 1st of December 2022. We all know what jokes are coming there, but yeah. In any case, even if those versions are incrementally different, the Mario of December 1st, 2022, right now, in comparison to, I don't know, the Mario of 2019 at any point, or the Mario of 2011 at any point, vastly different people. And strangely enough, despite the fact that it's been difficult, I feel happy for who I am at the moment. Not to say that I'm not still a work in progress. It's not to say that I still don't have a lot of areas that I need to develop and grow and strengthen and all of those things. But at the end of the day, I think we just live in a world that makes it hard to accept ourselves and be glad for who we are and what we've done with ourselves. And the experiences that I've had today have just led me to believe that I'm an extraordinarily lucky guy. I'm an extraordinarily grateful guy. I'm surrounded by people who love me, and I try and return that love, and I try and uplift those around me because of the way they've uplifted me. I'm grateful for my ability to follow my passions in like an actual form of education. I'm grateful that it's going to lead me to an exciting and unpredictable career, and I'm grateful for all the uncertainty that life has, because if it was predictable, if it was expected, then it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be worthwhile. It would just be formulaic and dry and boring. It'd be like a Marvel movie. And I'm saying that to annoy people who like Marvel, but I'm also saying it in a kind of a true way, like how a lot of films, you'll sit down and you'll just think 10 minutes in, you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, I know all the story beats, and I know, how this is going to play out. Life isn't that way. Life is unpredictable. Life is at times very difficult. But those difficulties are what make the victories so just, so right. And those times that we experience loss and we experience difficulty, we experience failure, that means that when we experience success and joy and happiness, they feel that much brighter. We need that contrast in our lives. We need that yin and that yang, because happiness doesn't exist without unhappiness. Peace doesn't exist without chaos. Opposites are also parts of one another in a way. At least that's what I understand from some book that I read that was kind of about Taoism. But I still find it relevant, and I still thought it'd be cool to talk about. But yeah, just know that I'm extremely grateful for your presence in this video. I hope that some of the experience I've shared you might relate to, or might give you a slight different perspective to the way you see your life and the world now. And even if this was just background noise, you just needed someone to drone on about something, then I hope I filled that space for you. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Lots of love.
The meat and my steamers broke for the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at the top of your words. Witches on my head, wishing that we can waste, but whisk up the eggplant pie, even salad dragon. Whole country can't rest on a wing since then, never sing.